So again, yeah, the advice, I would say, work on yourself, like be the best that you can be, constantly be growing, pushing for the sake of service and giving value, right? So not about, not making it about yourself, but like, I'm gonna better myself so I can then give more of myself to other people, and that's magnetic.
All right, here we go. Today we're chatting with Nathan Mills from Beyond the Guitar, one of the biggest names in the YouTube guitar community. Nathan, thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir, Josh. It's good to catch up, man.
Your main channel turns 8 years old this December. And your very first upload was your Star Wars guitar medley. And you posted that on December 18th, 2015. I looked this up. Did you ever think you'd be where you are today, over 500,000 subscribers? And what were your expectations when you first started the channel?
Yeah, gosh, I can't believe 8 years. That's crazy.
We're getting old, man.
Yeah, I feel it. I went into it very seriously because I was married. My wife was pregnant at the time because we had our first kid in June of 2016. And so I knew this wasn't a time for me to just kind of like mess around, right? Like I needed to be in a position to provide for my family. And so when I started, the goal was always for it to turn into something. Now, I wish I could say I had so much self-belief that I was like, yes, this is gonna happen. I did have confidence in the fact that I had a unique, I knew that I could potentially kind of carve out a space for myself, kind of a unique niche, because like seeing what everybody else was doing on YouTube at the time, other guitarists, I felt like with my classically trained background, my musicianship, and just the style or the genre of music that I wanted to arrange, I felt like I was positioned well to offer a lot of value and to stand out. But of course, yeah, I mean, I don't think I was super confident that it was going to pan out as a full-time career. And the nature of my YouTube, online career, it was kind of all gradual. It all happened in steps. So there wasn't any like grand gestures of like quitting my job and like going all in. When I made that first video, I believe, so I was working at Capital One, just had a full-time day job.
You were a bank teller.
Well, I was more fun than that. I was in collections, so I just called people all day telling them they had to pay up.
That's tough. That's tough, man.
It was rough, yeah. So, I mean, if there's anything, too, that, like, motivates you to keep pushing, because I was like, I don't want to go back there. I left that job when I found a part-time teaching job at a public school where I knew it was going to be a pay cut, but it wouldn't be drastic. Like, I would still be making enough money in case nothing started to come of YouTube, but it freed up time to create. And then, after doing that for doing YouTube and that part-time job and teaching privately on the side for a couple of years, then I was able to quit the middle school and just have a heavy private teaching load. And then slowly as YouTube continued to grow, then I was able to take fewer and fewer private students and just focus on the content creation. It was just kind of a gradual phasing out like that.
What advice would you give to other guitarists looking to start a YouTube channel today?
Yeah, it's an interesting game because, I mean, shoot, my channel has seen far better days. I mean, views are just down, like way down. And it seems to be pretty across the board, at least for people who have been in the game for a while and like used to be getting a bunch of views. Like a lot of my buddies that were doing this just as long as me, or some of them longer, are feeling some of that same hurt. Like the guys who were just like mostly just like music videos, right? Like covers, arrangements. It doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be so much the thing anymore. And I don't really know that this is the part that kills me, because I want to help all my buddies out there who are like, trying to get views, again, myself included, or these like newer channels and stuff. Like, I want to be able to provide like advice and tactics on like, all right, well, here's how you beat the algorithm. But honestly, like, I haven't figured it out yet, right? In this kind of new landscape, I don't really know what the answer is. But one thing I know that I can do, that we all can do, is just ultimately like providing value. Like that's really, like that's the key. We get so wrapped up in numbers and like tactics and, ooh, like this thing could go viral, or ooh, this is the new big game or movie, right? Like in our niche, like, and we sometimes lose sight of the person on the other side of the screen. We're thinking about us and our success and what's gonna get us views, and we're not thinking about like, all right, all that aside, like, how can I just give that person value? How could I just absolutely make their day to the point that they want to keep coming back?
Man, that's great advice. I like what you said there. We forget about the person on the other side.
Yeah. And that transcends any type of algorithm, any changes in the algorithm. Like, if you can provide value, if you're good at what you do and you provide value, you're going to find a way. And you're resilient. That's the other thing. Like, I used to get so stressed out when the numbers were down, but I've been doing a lot of work, especially this last year, on just my mindset and discipline. Honestly, right now, like, I'm not worried at all. Like, I know I'm in this for the long haul. I'm committed. I'm going to outlast all these guys. Because yeah, I mean, I'm committed to serving people, and I know what I have to offer. So again, yeah, the advice, I would say, work on yourself, like be the best that you can be, constantly be growing, pushing for the sake of service and giving value, right? So not about, not making it about yourself, but like, I'm gonna better myself so I can then give more of myself to other people, and that's magnetic. There's a guy, a coach that I follow, and one of the things he says is who, not how. So instead of focusing on like the how of how you're gonna be successful, what tactic, like just focus on who you are, like become that guy. Become so good, so undeniable, so magnetic, so valuable that people just want to listen to what you have to say. You make their life better just by being exposed to them in some small capacity. And the beautiful thing about that too, like algorithms, all that, we don't have control over. That is something that we very much so have control over. That's
super great advice. You wear a lot of hats. You're a musician, content creator, influencer, teacher, community leader. What takes up the majority of your time these days, and how are you able to balance everything?
I would say it really varies week to week, depending on what the current project is. And that's also kind of how I balance it, meaning kind of there's a lot of like balls juggling in the air, and like sometimes that means a video has to be a week or 2 weeks later than I would like, if I'm focusing on building out a course or a launch or things related to that. So it's hard to say like which takes the most time. I mean, the courses, like building out a full course takes an immense amount of work.
I bet.
But it's like for a season. So like right now I'm not currently, I'm kind of scripting out still one of the courses that I'm working on. But this past week, for example, I was just grinding out a new arrangement. So it was like 5 hours a day practicing this beast and not as much work on the back end and the other stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot as far as which takes the most time, but I have to be flexible on, not as strict of a content schedule, I think, because of all that stuff.
Totally. Do you do everything yourself, or do you have someone helping you with things like writing and filming and editing?
I don't have any help with the production. One of my programs called the Practice Club, I have Matt Fish, acoustic OST, shout out.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's a community manager and helps me out some throughout the week in that program. We do weekly live streams where live group practice sessions basically, and he'll pick out one of my arrangements, like an excerpt from it, for us to kind of practice together. And so he handles all that and sends out the emails and things. Other than that, as far as all the production and everything, that's just me.
So tell us a little more about the Beyond the Guitar brand. I know you started out as just a guitar cover YouTube channel, but over the years, you've branched off more into teaching. And I know you're running quite a few courses like Fingerstyle Journey and Practice Club, Arrangers Academy. How hard is it to manage that many students?
The end game was always to be heavy on the teaching. Even when I first started Beyond the Guitar, the goal at first was maybe to teach my arrangements, but then copyright stuff made that more complicated than I was anticipating. And it turns out that making arrangements and YouTube videos, as you know, takes an incredible amount of work. So building out courses and things like that took a back seat for years, longer than I had intended. But back in 2019, I finally got serious about it, and I took a course from a business coach that I admire on how to structure something like that. And that really kind of lit a fire under me to finally start building out these programs and get them out to the world. And I launched the Arrangers Academy in 2020. So yeah, that was always my goal, because I do have a huge passion for teaching. And honestly, I love the arranging and making beautiful music, but I feel so much more of a tangible impact on people with my teaching. Like, that inspires me. That's what pushes and motivates me, when I can see the direct impact that I'm having on my students, giving them access to a classically trained teacher that they might not be able to have access to otherwise. Like a lot of my colleagues who are amazing guitarists in their own right, yourself included, might not have programs or might not be, I know, some people just aren't interested in teaching, or they don't have the capacity in their schedule to do it, or sometimes people are just great players and not great teachers, right? And so I knew I had that skill set as well. And so there's also I felt this duty as well to share that and be a resource for people. So yeah, I mean, right now I'm super passionate and full send on that. And really, it's all the YouTube videos, all the music videos and things like that. Again, I love creating those, and they offer value in their own right. But at the end of the day, it's all meant to be a funnel to direct people, like my people, the people that I know I can help, into these programs that are best suited for them.
Oh, so the goal was always teaching, even from the beginning. It just took you a while to ramp that up.
Yeah, I knew, well, at least that was going to be part of it. I knew that was kind of the long game. Teaching was always going to be part of the equation. How much, maybe I didn't know. But I was teaching private lessons before I started YouTube regularly as well. So, I mean, I'd already been teaching in some capacity for years. as well.
So I think I saw one of your legato exercise videos. You were pumping iron while you were showing us that. Getting some guns there, man.
Yeah, I was trying to get a little catchy thumbnail there. Yes, I have been. We're getting a little something there.
There we go.
I've been working out.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. I dad bought it out big time. Had kids, got busy, got lazy. I mean, there's no excuses. I just got lazy and I got comfortable, and I started to feel the impact that had a ripple effect out into every area of my life. Like making videos, I would I'd have to position myself just right behind the guitar, so the love handles weren't hanging out over the edge, because I was so insecure about it. And then it goes deeper too. Again, as a father, you always want to be the big strong man for your kids. My son, he's young enough. He's 7 now. He was 6 at the time. He was young enough to where he saw me. He's like, "Dad, you're big and strong." But I knew there was it was a ticking time bomb. I knew there was going to be a time, if I didn't change, he's going to get to a certain point where he realizes no, Dad's not big and strong. He's lazy and weak. And that just broke my heart. And so that, along with many other things, I decided to make some serious changes. So I actually joined a coaching program for fitness and nutrition and a lot of mindset and discipline stuff. There's early wake up times, working out 6 days a week.
What time do you wake up every morning?
So for 6 months, probably, it was 4:30 pretty consistently. Lately, I've been lazy on that. I'm going to blame it on the fact that we're in this 6-week challenge over the summer in this program. We're doing extra workouts and really just going hard. And I'm my body needs a little extra sleep for recovery. That's what we're rolling with. So despite what people may want to say, this is kind of it's a cultural, you got to tread carefully with this. But I do think your level of fitness, it just inherently says something about you.
It does.
There's no way to dance around that gently. If you're out of shape, that says that you're not willing to do a hard thing consistently over time. And so people just inherently, when they see that you are physically fit, they understand. Everybody knows what it takes to get there. And so that carries some weight.
Absolutely.
And so again, going back to that who, not how, and being the best version of yourself and commanding respect and being somebody that people listen to, I think it's kind of a holistic thing. I think we're also in a very unique position as guitarists and musicians. We know the long game. We know we're masters at delayed gratification. Because we know we sit there and rep it out, play the same measure hundreds of times to really nail it, right? And so if we can leverage that into other areas of our lives, leverage that same discipline, we can crush it.
Yeah, there is a lot of correlation there. We do know, as guitarists, we know what it's like to suffer over a piece. Just to get to where we are takes years, takes decades.
Yeah.
Any books that you've read in the last year that have helped you change your lifestyle?
Yeah, there was, again, part of this coaching group, I was doing a lot of reading. It's also it's a workout, men's group, book club, kind of all the above.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, there were some good, Stoic philosophy stuff actually that really hit hard for me. So one of them was How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. I forgot the author, but he's, I believe, a psychologist, and he was kind of combining the writings of Marcus Aurelius and this Stoic philosophy, Stoicism, with kind of modern psychology, and how you can kind of apply
Donald Robinson.
those principles to just modern
Robertson.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna add that one to my list. If Byung the Guitar reads it, I want to read it too.
Yeah, let's get it.
I recently finished Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I've been really into him lately. I don't know if that's made it to your,
I read
to your
that.
club, but okay, yeah, that one really changed the way that I look at life. I think for the first time, I feel a permanent change versus just a stroke of motivation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. I think what I struggle with sometimes with books is that like there's so much, you're getting like so much information and it's almost like overwhelm and you almost end up not doing anything. So I try to kind of make it my goal. I take notes as I'm reading these books, but then I try to like if I can take one thing from this book and like apply it to my life or like meditate on it, or like one key takeaway from this book that is really like gonna impact my life in a positive way, then I call that a win. So yeah, kind of like what you're saying with David Goggins, I feel like the overall theme with him is like there's always more that we can give. For the How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, one of the key takeaways was this idea that it's not the thing itself that causes us the most pain or the most stress or the most anxiety. It's our perception of that thing. So how that plays out, like I was able to tie that directly into, let's go back to like the YouTube game. It's not the video that I upload that gets terrible views. It's not just that at face value that causes me the most stress. It's what I do with that information. It's how I kind of catastrophize from that information. I take it and then I spiral and I'm like, oh my goodness, well, this is the end. My career is over. Everybody hates me. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna feed my family, right? And so if we can let go, if we can like stop it at the ground level and not build these extra stories around these things and just recognize, oh, that video didn't perform well, and then move on. Like same thing with just like physical pain. We can like, you get a pain in your chest or something, you'd be like, oh, that's it. I'm dying. I'm out of here. It's my time. Heart attack. I'm gone. Assuming it's not actually a heart attack, but right? Like, let's say it's just like, whatever, cramp or something. Like if you just acknowledge it for what it is, oh, like I'm a little sore or my chest hurts. Like we don't have to build these elaborate, horrible scenarios around all these just objective things. I think it's important to kind of think about what we value, what attributes we value in a person, and then just straight up making a choice to be that person and to do that thing that we admire. So a trait that lots of, like I would say across the board, we generally admire is that, again, resilience. Like,
yeah.
If I see somebody who's like just been like crushed, like kicked in the nuts over and over again with a 10 out of 10 video over and over, and he just like takes a breath, gets the guitar and gets right back to work, like unfazed, works harder than ever, I'm like, man, that guy is a badass.
So your Fortnite dance video blew up. That very first one. I mean, the top three have 13 million, 8 million, 3.5 million. But it's been almost 5 years since your last one. Why don't you do more of them?
That is a good question. So I realized pretty quickly that when the first Fortnite video went viral and I ended up putting out another video, the views did not translate very well. My subscribers like blew up, but I didn't see a proportionate change in my viewership for my next video, meaning a ton of those new subscribers were not watching my non-Fortnite stuff. And so then eventually I was like, all right, well, let me reel him back in. And I did another one, a Fortnite Part 2. And then that got great views. And then those people, I also was getting comments pretty much on every non-Fortnite video. For the few people that did, come and watch it, they were like, where's the next Fortnite video? Like, whatever. And so after the third one, I realized, and this is where, again, kind of the danger of like trying to make sure you go viral for the right reasons, like make sure that it actually, like, you're reaching your people, which, to be fair, I thought I was, because it still fit in my niche, like, is video game music. I played Fortnite, so it wasn't just jumping on a bandwagon. I liked the game. I had, like, knowledge of all that, like the dance stuff. Like I already knew everything like that was going on in the game. But I think Fortnite's audience skews really young for the most part, and they're not interested they're not like gamers as a whole. I think they're like a lot of just young kids who are like, they play Fortnite and that's it. Maybe Roblox and Minecraft, right? Like, so they just weren't interested in my other stuff. And then I started to realize, like, that was actually potentially hurting me. And I think, honestly, to this day, it's still hurting my channel, because it kind of blew up my subscriber base with a bunch of people who won't click on my videos because they're not interested. They only subscribed for that Fortnite content. Now, obviously, there was a percentage of those people who were also interested in other stuff, but and so basically, kind of to not further perpetuate that problem, I decided I was never going to do another Fortnite video, because I didn't want to be stuck, like, having to, like, feed that beast. I wanted to make sure I was reaching my people. So even if it meant getting less views, there's also something to be said about the quality of the view and the quality of your audience, right? Like, I wanted to reach people that were invested and that really were kind of sold on what I was doing and appreciated the guitar and music as a whole, rather than they just wanted me to be like a dancing monkey who would just churn out Fortnite videos for them whenever they wanted.
Right. I know this video didn't technically go viral, but your sad version of the Friends theme was actually used on the Friends reunion episode on HBO. What was that like?
That was really cool. I think that was cool, way cooler even than the viral. And the thing about it, I don't know where it stands now, view-wise, but when they reached out for it to be used, like, it really did not have very many at all. Like, I at least as far as my viewership goes, I chalked that up as like a failed video.
It's got about 100K.
Yeah, so it probably got a bunch. It got a bunch after, with people searching it up. And so I made a video about that, actually, kind of talking about how that's one of the beauties of YouTube and putting yourself out there, is like, you can have a video that seems like a failed video, like a 10 out of 10, but it's out there forever.
It's evergreen.
Exactly. And you don't know, eventually, maybe, like, I've had also where just randomly, like, I couldn't tell you why, but randomly a video just took off years later sometimes. So, like, that can happen, or just little opportunities can come, or big opportunities can come from these, quote, like, failed videos, like this Friends video. And so I think that's also an important thing to remember. Like, we're building these catalogs, and we have to think bigger picture, rather than like, oh, this video is a failure. Like, no, we're building something here. Again, even if it's slow, you're gonna find some dedicated fans, we'll call them, who like want to binge all your stuff. And the more stuff you have, the better. Anyway, so yeah, that was super cool, because my wife is a huge Friends fan. And so when I got the email, first I thought it was like a scam.
Of course.
But then I looked into the person, and I found like they actually worked for, whatever, Warner or something. And I told my wife, and she freaked out. Of course, then she started to try. She's like, "Oh, you should negotiate to like say they have to fly us out and like meet the cast." I was like, "I don't think I have that pull."
That's so funny.
But also the messy part of all that too was that they could never. They told me, for whatever reason, I don't know how this industry works, but they told me they couldn't confirm whether or not they were actually going to use my track until after it aired.
So you didn't know until you saw the episode?
No, and I was like, don't tell people. Of course, my wife had told like all like our friends, family, everybody at our church. And so everybody was asking me about it. I was like, if they might not even use it, and then I'm just going to feel like an idiot. But so we got up early the morning that it aired, and we were just like listening. And they told me like if it was to happen, it's going to happen like at this kind of moment. It was going to be like at a moment where Jennifer Aniston and whoever plays Ross were having like an emotional conversation. And so like we got to this point where like, oh, I think like this must be the moment they were talking about. And I was like, oh no, I heard it was like a cheesy piano track, like some random generic piano thing playing in the background. I was like, oh, well, that's it. But then sure enough, like a couple minutes later.
It was a situation that we couldn't.
That's amazing.
So anyway, yeah, it was super cool.
So do you get royalties anytime that episode?
No, I get
airs?
nothing. I even joked like they paid me like pennies, like probably. I joked like to some of my buddies. I was like, that lady probably like laughed, like turned to her like cubicle mate, was like, you won't believe what I just got this sucker to agree to, because like I didn't want to like. It seemed like they were lowballing me, but I also was like, I don't have any leverage here. I don't even own, like, this is a cover. This is an arrangement. They could make me just take the YouTube video down if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So I was like, do I have any ground to like negotiate?
Right.
And at the end of the day, I was like, it was cooler to me to have it happen and to be able to like talk about it, have this story, or I don't know, put it on I don't know what kind of, if it gives me any like street cred or anything, but.
You got street cred. You have street cred.
So just having it happen was worth more than the paycheck to me. But no, yeah, I barely made any money off of that, and definitely no royalties. I thought maybe they'd like put me in the credits or something, but I didn't even get put in the credits or anything like that.
Wow. We have no rights as cover musicians, as guitarists, man. We are just pawns.
It's corporate fat cats, man. Trying to keep the little guy down.
Have you ever been recognized in public?
No, I haven't.
Has anybody asked for your autograph?
I wish. That would make my day. No, I think I look too generic too, part of it. Like also like on the grand scheme of things, my audience isn't that big. Like if I hung around certain circles, like I went to the NAMM show a few years ago. I feel like if I went there like enough, like if you don't know, it's like a big music convention.
Yeah.
If I went to enough of that, like eventually, like probably somebody would be like, because there were definitely like other YouTubers and stuff that I saw there that I was like, and I like went to like to meet them. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just look like I'm like a white guy with a beard.
I don't know, man. You're the Fortnite guy.
Well, maybe I needed to wear the blue wig. Then at least some of the
if you go to a Comic-Con, somebody's gonna know you.
Some of the 9-year-olds would have recognized me at least.
I know Sam Griffin does. I don't know if he does Comic-Con, but he does some convention where in the past he's played there, because I guess that's a big hit, one of his big bases, because he does tons of video game covers. You ever done something like that?
No, I honestly, I don't love performing. Yeah, like I know, like when he talks about, he does these little like, I guess he does some like straight up tours and stuff sometimes too, right?
Yeah, he tours with his buddy Steven. I saw them actually out here in LA last year.
Oh, nice.
They were touring on the West Coast.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're tight. They sound great.
Yeah, I know. Sammy G, he could play.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, I don't love performing. So for me, it's like a if I have to kind of a thing. It stresses me out more than anything.
How many songs you got right now in your repertoire? If you could pick up the guitar right now and play.
Like maybe half of a song.
Like not even one whole song.
I'm not even joking. Yeah, it's like because I don't. Kind of going back to like all the hats that I wear, like I have to be very strategic with my time. And so to me, I memorize stuff quickly. So like I memorize my arrangements really quickly and I forget them just as quickly if I don't actively maintain them.
Oh yeah.
And so it just takes work to maintain them. I could, but then it's like for what purpose? Because I'm not performing, I'm not gigging. So that time is better spent than just moving on right to the next thing.
Totally.
So I don't recommend that for like for my students.
I have like 3. I could play 3 songs.
Yeah, I mean, and really that's
2
the best
songs,
way.
maybe.
It's like because it doesn't feel great to be like, you know, a professional guitarist who like, I mean, I could like mess my way through stuff, but I don't have anything really actively memorized except for my last like arrangement that I'm already forgetting, you know? So, yeah, it's the best strategy is, the best strategy is what you're doing. It's like, at least just maintain like a couple.
I don't know. I don't feel like that's much of an accomplishment. You know, 100 arrangements later and I can play maybe 2 songs. I feel like such a fraud. You know, we arrange a tune, we practice it, we record it, and we forget it, and it's gone. You know, and it's like, damn, the video is the only proof that you ever could play it.
Right.
And even then, it's, you know, spliced together takes, and
it's still smoke and mirrors. Yeah.
It's a sham.
I think you just got to own it. It's all like what your goals are. Like, again, going back to other people, right? Like if this isn't about me and this is about the people who listen to my music, it serves them better if I don't spend an hour or more of my day maintaining this repertoire, because that means they're going to get more music. I can spend that time giving them more music or creating more stuff for them. I guess if I was live streaming, like, you know, like that's one reason actually why I used to, in the early YouTube days, there was an app in my early YouTube days. I jumped on this app that was like Twitch, but just for music. It was like a live streaming app dedicated just for music called Crew. And I mean, again, that's a whole conversation in and of itself. But I was live streaming regularly several times a week, and it stressed me out a lot because I was like, I have to like maintain. It's like, this isn't just like if I was like a singer-songwriter or something, and it was like, you know, I would see people that would do that, and they'd have a set of like 200 songs that people could just pick and choose from, and make requests for. I was like, I can't. There's not enough time in the day to maintain that repertoire, you know, of all my arrangements. So
yeah, it's definitely a give and take. It's like build your live repertoire or create a library of arrangements. It's very difficult to do both, almost impossible considering the time it takes.
Yeah.
Where do you see our niche, specifically the guitar cover niche on YouTube, over the next 5 to 10 years, let's say? Are you positive or are you negative? Are you half full or are you half empty?
Well, I always want to be positive. So I'm positive. What it's going to look like, I don't know. I think it is going to require flexibility and evolution, which is something that I haven't been great at, because I'm still pretty much, other than all the teaching stuff, I'm still pretty much doing the same thing that I did when I first started, like making the arrangements, making the music videos. I'm doing it at a higher level, better production. I've learned a lot, but it's still more or less the same thing. And it does seem like it's, not the game anymore for whatever reason. Like, I've tried to kind of speculate if it's just with short form content, like vertical content coming more and more into the forefront, if that's impacted it. Honestly, I've thought, like, culturally even, I'm like, all right, well, maybe like the streaming wars where we're just inundated with shows and movies all the time, or it's more like quantity over quality. It's less of an event when a new like thing comes out and that thing having music attached to it. So maybe even that's been part of what's changed, right? Like a new video game comes out or a new movie comes out, like
There's just so much content out there.
yeah, so it's like there's less hype or a smaller window of hype to then capitalize, because that was a big part of my growth, was like jumping on the new video game, jumping on the new movie, jumping on the new show. And so it seems like the channels that are doing the best are the channels that have always or heavily invested in the more kind of how-to instructional and more like personality driven like guitar channels as well. Because I do think that's one thing that those of us who are just putting out music videos, we suffer because people aren't like, sure, they're invested in our playing, but they're not like, they might like our style and our tone, whatever, what it makes our playing unique, but it's still kind of, there's a little bit of a disassociation between that and like us. Like they can't necessarily relate and connect to us as people. And so that's definitely something I've been thinking about, like trying, like I don't know, I'm not committing to exactly when, but I got some equipment, like I'm gonna start doing some form of like day in the life, like vlog type things, which vlogs are also not, like vlogging used to be the cool thing. That's not so much anymore. So that also might be a bust, but I think the key is experimenting and trying different things, because there is a balance. We talked about resilience. So there is something to be said about not like keeping your head down and committing, but also, yeah, we need to be smart. And like, if we're just doing the same thing forever and it's just not working, we do need to be smart about it and pivot and adjust and be willing to try things and then stick with those things for a while and not just do, I'm bad at this too. I'll do one vlog and then be like, well, that didn't take off, and then stop. But also, again, if I'm going to do the vlogs, it's going to be through the lens of providing value. It's not going to be like, look at me, here's what I do a day. It's all going to be like through the lens of, all right, how can this instruct or serve, educate, inspire somebody watching this? And so again, I think that's always the lens that we need. Whatever content we're making, that needs to be at the forefront. What value is this providing them?
Yeah, I really dug the vlog style videos you did on your second channel. You were doing like a 10 or 12 tips or something like that. But you gave the tips in different settings. You were brushing your teeth in one scene,
yeah.
You were eating breakfast in another, making coffee in another. And those are really engaging. And you took a lot of good pages out of other creators' books by always changing scene, changing context, and really helped keep I just remember that video specifically kept my attention all the way through. And I was like, wow, I could totally see how, someone would enjoy watching this. And my back of my mind, I was like, I want to do a video like that someday. Must have been tough to film, I would imagine, but that was awesome.
Yeah, that took forever. But yeah, it was fun. And you can that's the cool thing too, is when you branch out outside of music videos, it opens up this whole world of creativity as well, where I've gotten to the point where I do feel kind of boxed in. If it's just a music video, You are limited. There's only so much that you can do.
Yeah.
Especially as a one-man show if you're not doing some crazy production. But yeah, I don't know. To answer your question, I would just say I think channels that really invest in giving value, teaching things, like those are always going to be the channels that thrive, or at least set themselves up to thrive. So my advice is always to like at least supplement your content with stuff that's teaching, that's elevating people's lives who are watching it beyond just, again, music does elevate our lives, but also giving them real concrete ways that like this, you can take this knowledge and this experience and apply it to your life, and your life will be better. How can we become more of a personal brand, basically? I'm not just a musician, like I am a personal brand, and like people can connect and relate to me, and they're invested in me. Again, not just because it's about me, but because I can help them improve their lives. I can help inspire them. I can help, educate them, whatever that may be.
You have to go beyond the guitar, is what I'm hearing.
One might say that you need to go beyond it. Little young Nathan 8 years ago, he knew. You just didn't see it.
You were clairvoyant.
So now when I pivot, and once I get fully, once the transformation is complete and I go full fitness influencer, nobody can give me a hard time, because I was
make
like,
a third channel.
Hey, it's been beyond the guitar from the beginning.
That's right.
Right. So I can do whatever I want.
You really can. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate your time.
Yes, brother.
Thanks for answering all my questions. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. It's an honor. I love what you're doing, man.
Thank you, man.
Keep it up. All right. I guess that's a wrap, huh?